Have you ever finished a long day of meetings or maybe just studying really hard and you feel completely physically drained? I mean, you haven't moved a muscle, but you're just exhausted? Well, there's a reason for that. Today, we're going to get into why thinking feels so tiring and uncover the brain's pretty surprising energy secret.
All right, let's just start with one single kind of staggering number, 20%. That's it. That's the slice of your body's total daily energy that your brain and your brain alone eats up, more than any other organ you've got.
And you know what makes that 20% figure just mind-blowing? Your brain only makes up about 2% of your body weight. Think about that. It's a tiny little thing, but it is an absolute energy hog. It's just disproportionately hungry for fuel all day, every single day.
So this naturally leads to a question that, I think a lot of us have probably assumed is true. If I really, really push my brain, am I getting a mental workout? Am I burning extra calories? Kind of like a physical workout?
Okay, well, it is time to bust the great brain workout myth. See, the popular idea is that really intense thinking burns hundreds of extra calories. But the reality? It's a bit different. It's not really about burning more fuel overall, but about using up the fuel that's immediately available way, way faster.
And the science behind this is something called glucose demand. See, when you're concentrating really hard, your brain isn't suddenly burning hundreds more calories. Nope. Instead, it's just screaming for its main fuel, glucose, and it's burning through the supply that's right there, ready to go, in that part of the brain.
And that explains that feeling we all know so well, right? That brain fog, that fatigue, maybe even that sudden urge to grab a snack after a really tough problem. It's not because you just ran a marathon with your mind. It's your brain signaling, hey, my immediate fuel tank is running on empty down here.
But here's the thing you got to remember. Your brain is always on. It's always working, always burning energy at a pretty stable, high rate. Whether you're daydreaming, just scrolling through social media, or solving some super complex problem, the base amount of energy it's using, it doesn't actually change all that much.
So, okay, here's the crucial point. If the total energy burn is pretty much constant, then why does some thinking feel, totally effortless, while other times it just leaves us completely drained? What is the real problem here?
And that brings us right to the core idea of this whole explainer. The problem isn't about the size of the fire, the total calories you're burning. It's all about how efficiently you're using the fuel.
This comparison really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you've got the inefficient brain. It's in high alert mode, maybe from stress or anxiety, and it's just wasting energy, kind of spinning its wheels. But on the other side, you have the efficient brain. It's calm, it's in a state of deep focus, and it's using its energy effectively. That's the feeling that leads to mental clarity, that feeling of being powerful.
And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? Chronic overthinkers feel exhausted without accomplishing much. When your brain is stuck in that inefficient, high-alert state, you just burn through your mental fuel with very little to show for it. It is the perfect definition of wasted energy. And here's a surprising and, honestly, a critical fact. Your brain cannot store energy. It just can't. Unlike your muscles, which can tuck away some glycogen for later, your brain has no battery pack. It's living completely hand-to-mouth, relying on a constant supply of fuel from your body. And because it can't store fuel, your brain's performance is 100% dependent on these 4 non-negotiable things. It needs a continuous supply of glucose from your food, a continuous supply of oxygen from breathing, daily restoration from good sleep, and essential support from just staying hydrated. This is exactly why these fundamentals matter so much more for your mental performance than sheer willpower ever will.
So let's just make this distinction crystal clear, once and for all. Physical exercise, yeah, that burns calories in a big, significant way. But intense mental work, like doing puzzles or just deep thinking, that primarily burns your capacity for focus. They are 2 completely different kinds of exertion. Okay, so we've established the problem isn't about burning more calories, it's about wasting energy. So the obvious next question is, how do we stop the waste? How do we protect this incredible power source we have sitting in our heads?
Well, it really comes down to a pretty simple but really powerful action plan. First, you've got to reduce the unnecessary stress, calm the storm that puts your brain into that inefficient high alert mode. Second, stop trying to do a million things at once. Limit that mental overload. And finally, focus your power. Give one thing your full undivided attention.
And this right here is the ultimate takeaway. It's not about pushing harder, it's about thinking smarter.
A calm, efficient brain, one that isn't wasting its precious energy on anxiety and distraction, is going to outperform an exhausted one every single time.
So, let's totally reframe the goal here. Stop thinking about your brain as some kind of tool for burning fat. That's not what it's for. Start thinking about it as a precious resource, whose energy you need to conserve and direct effectively. The goal is efficiency, not exhaustion. And that leaves us with one final and, I think, powerful question to think about. When you look at your day-to-day life, your stress levels, your habits, how much of your brain's incredible, precious energy are you, unintentionally wasting?